Thank you for joining us on Health Diary. My name is Gladys Gashanja and we're coming to you from the Concord Hotel and Suites. Now, I'm sure you've noticed there are more and more people living with allergies today. And just speaking to fellow mothers, more and more children being born with allergies. So what is the issue here? Is it the food that we're eating? Is it the pollution? Or is it the products that we're applying on our skins? Well, these questions will be answered on today's episode. But before we get to the gist of it, here now is the fact of the matter. Allergies, also known as allergic diseases, are a number of conditions caused by hypersensitivity of the immune system to typically harmless substances in the environment. These diseases include hay fever, food allergies, atopic dermatitis, allergic asthma, and anaphylaxis. The severity of allergies varies from person to person and can range from minor irritation to anaphylaxis, which can cause death. Preventing allergic reactions depends on the type of allergy you have, and this can be confirmed by an allergist by doing an allergy skin test to pinpoint your triggers. Lack of information on allergy triggers can cause malnutrition, especially in children, due to inappropriate dietary avoidance, and may also cause mental and social stress associated with physical symptoms.
I'm 25 years of age. I discovered about this allergy when I was 22. I'm allergic to cold. So whenever my skin is exposed to cold water or anything cold, I react to it. And so it's not only my skin, even drinking cold water, my throat swells. So I find it very difficult to swallow anything. So during cold seasons or when it's raining, I have to just stay indoors. And then I have to be warmly dressed at any given time to avoid the exposure to cold. The part that is exposed to cold just gets itchy, and then after some time they develop hives, you know. I am on medication. There are some drugs, they're called antihistamines. One is called Allegra, another one is called cetirizine. My mother used to have a similar condition, but then she also had asthma. When it's too hot and I have an urge of taking something cold, then I take something that is moderately cold, not extremely cold, because when it's too hot and I bathe with cold water, now the reaction is more severe. The condition has had a negative impact on my social life, because once in a while you want to hang out with friends, you want to go swimming and you can't, and you have to let them down. Or you want to go out on a date and then you can't take something cold like ice cream. Yes, when I have to visit the doctor, I use an HIF because the injection is a bit expensive and the consultation fees. Yeah, so when I have to visit the hospital, I use an HIF. But mostly when the condition comes, I just use the drugs that I can buy. I also take anti-inflammatory drugs for the swelling of the throat. Yeah, and they're affordable.
Anyone with a child with allergies or just living with allergies will tell you it is such a tricky balance trying to get the right nutrition and also making sure you don't flare up the allergies. Now, that's just a drop in the ocean in as far as the world of allergies is concerned. And to give us more information on the same, with me is Dr. Priya Bowery. She is an allergist from the Allergy Clinic. Thank you for your time. And Harriet Mudhoni, who is a caregiver to a child with allergies, but she also has allergies, so she speaks from two points of view. Thank you, ladies, for joining us. Now, I'll start with you, Dr. What is it about the body that makes it interpret things around it to be allergens? What is normally lacking?
It's not something that's lacking. I think the first thing to understand is what is an allergy. So an allergic reaction occurs when the body comes across something and it makes an exaggerated response to it. What should really be a normal, innocent thing that one gets exposed to, in an allergic individual, it reacts in a very strong and exaggerated manner, resulting in inflammation. And that inflammation is what then we see as the symptoms. It can be anything that you eat and drink, anything that you breathe in and out, any medication you may take, or something you're exposed to at work. So it's not a lack of something, but actually an overdrive because of certain chemical messengers that are in our body that are in excess. And when they're in excess, it actually kind of signals the body to react in this manner by producing antibodies against those specific things that you're reacting to.
Your odds of developing an allergy are normally in the genes. So there's a lot of genetic predisposition. So from your experience, is it, do you also have to work with, I guess, environmental factors?
Genetics is the predominant one, but of course there are many other things that will predispose that patient to developing allergies. Environmental factors, environmental exposures, things such as things in the diet, things like pollution and smoking can also affect how the genes express themselves. One of the things that we find with our patients with allergies is it's multifactorial, so it's not only genetics.
So children with one allergic parent have a 33% chance of developing allergies. With two allergic parents, it's a 70% chance. Now, Harriet, clearly you already have the allergies. You were not surprised that your son turned out to have allergies, right?
It was a surprise.
Really?
Yes.
How come?
My firstborn had no allergies whatsoever. She was so amazing, as in she was the perfect baby, you know, eats everything, does everything, past all the barriers, markers. She was amazing. Now you get a second-born, you think, just the same thing. No.
Okay.
Got all the allergies from, I think, my in-laws also have allergies. So, and then the environmental and also food as well. So he got all of them.
Oh dear.
All of them.
And when you say all of them, what are we working with?
He has food allergies, as well as environmental allergies that we're also discovering now.
As you go along.
Yeah.
How old is he?
He's just turned 2.
Wow. What allergies do you have as a mother?
Eczema, mostly.
Okay,
Yeah.
so the son has eczema.
Him, it's more eczema, and he's looking like he's getting asthma now.
Okay, now, Dr. I have read up on this, and it says when you have allergies, the probability of you having others that come with is very high. And they also mention the fact that asthma always comes with another allergy attached to it. Explain to us the connection.
It doesn't always come with another allergy attached to it. Most of the time it does. I think it's important that we understand that. So in an allergic, a person who has a tendency to develop allergies, who we call atopics, an atopic patient is likely to develop allergies and a host of allergic manifestations. So it will present in different ways in different times over a period of that child's life or that patient's life. And you can progress from food allergies and eczema as a younger child or earlier on, progressing to asthma and upper airway allergies, allergic rhinitis, and sinusitis. So pattern of allergy changes over time. And the same patient can go through these multiple phases of different allergic conditions. Some may clear and some may persist over time, and the whole pattern can change.
All right, Harriet, from your experience with other mothers around you, are you hearing more and more mothers are getting children with eczema?
Yes.
And what's their experience?
It's not easy. First of all, some of them get so confused, they don't know what to do. Who do they go to first? They don't know the specialist, they don't get the information sometimes. And by the time you notice, they're so far off. And I'm like, no, you should go see a specialist. There are very many specialists now. And there are tests you can do now.
Why are we seeing more allergies today more than before?
So what we have to do as allergists is actually break down from your history and look at everything about what you eat and drink and what you're exposed to, and then work our way through all the different exposures to see what the common likelihood, what the likelihood is of each different thing being the cause. In the younger children, it's predominantly things in the diet. As they get older, environmental allergens start to play a role. And in adults, it can be both things in the diet or in the environment, or occupational exposures or drugs. We have to work our way and do our homework.
Harriet, milk, fish, eggs, nuts, wheat. What is he very allergic to?
Milk, nuts,
Yeah.
meat, basically all protein apart from some that we're reintroducing now since he's turned 2.
Which some? Grains? Yeah.
Yes, grains like chickpeas and lentils, lentils. Then there's game meat we've been told to introduce, like pork, we're told to look for ostrich.
Wow.
Rabbit.
Yeah.
And it's normally very hard.
I can imagine,
Yeah.
and expensive too, because it's rare.
Yeah.
Dr. Harry, just listening to her, these are the foods that are very nutritious, yet they're the ones that seem to trigger allergies. What is it about these foods?
You are what you eat. That's the bottom line. So the first thing is, how do we go about establishing what is making that child sick? What is making that patient sick? It starts with taking a very good history of what's in the diet and then selecting the correct allergens to test them for. And then work our way systematically through the process of testing and then doing an elimination rechallenge diet to confirm the cause of what was going on. And that is how you identify and figure out what's making you sick. And then from there, we can offer alternatives.
So doing an allergy test is paramount.
I think so. I have a lot of patients who by the time they've got to us have started this and started the other and stopped this and stopped the other and have been round and round the houses. And I think the further you delay, the more you continue exposure to that thing that you're reacting to, and that can only make reactions more severe over time.
Okay, so apart from seeing your allergist so that you know what you're dealing with, there's also the fact that there's some people who outgrow their allergies, but for some, they stay with them until their adulthood. Now, we'll get to understand why this is the case right after this break. Welcome back. Today, the conversation is around allergies, and I'm sure any mother out there who has to bring up a child with allergies understands the difficulty of tiptoeing around diets, or even somebody who's been living with allergies all their life. Now, Harriet, you are one of those parents that's been tiptoeing around diets, and I'm sure you've tried the camel milks, the goat milks, and what have you. What have you settled on that seems to work and is a good alternative for your child?
If he takes camel milk yogurt, he takes it once a week, it reacts well with him. So that works once in a while. He has to have spinach, broccoli, greens in each and every meal he takes. That works at least. If there's no lentils or chickpeas, we also have to substitute with vegetables throughout.
Dr. Harry, at this point, I think it's prudent that you walk us through some of the alternatives to some of these allergic reactions or the foods that we are allergic to.
Sure. So the first thing we do is, once we've established what it is the patient is allergic to, then for each of the things, we try and offer substitutes and alternatives. When it comes to proteins, there are multiple different types of proteins. There are plant proteins, there are animal proteins. And what we need to do is work out in that patient which proteins they react to and which they don't. And it's important that we guide the patient how they should be feeding their children during that time. And it is about working together and cooperating with the parent. But importantly, there's a lot of cross-reactive allergens. For example, with different types of milks, like cow's milk and goat's milk. A lot of people, without the understanding and the knowledge, may go to a nutritionist or a dietitian and say, I've been told I'm allergic to cow's milk, and be offered an alternative. The other thing is, with patients with multiple food allergies, really they ought to be followed up by the allergist routinely having and have their weights checked and their milestones checked on, and making sure that they are actually thriving as they should.
As you tiptoe around your child's diet, I'm sure you also feel like he needs to live in a bubble so that you can control the things he eats. How has that now impacted his life as a child?
Milk. Milk is the biggest, because how many people go to school and carry snacks? What do you carry for your child? A packet of milk and maybe a sandwich or bananas, fruits I'm not worried about. But milk, the packet milk with a straw. Yeah. Each and every child, even going to church, if you're not careful, he'll be given milk. I have to watch him. He looks for milk. And he sees the straw with a kid with a straw, and he's like, I want that.
And he's wondering why he's not being given.
Why am I not being given?
Yeah.
And other parents want to give him. They just want to give. And you're like, no, you have to rush and say, no, please don't give him. He's highly allergic and it can mess his whole day.
That is quite a life to leave. I mean, he's only 2 now. At some point, he will have to leave the nest.
I work with hundreds and hundreds of children throughout, from infancy all the way through to kids who are in boarding school. And we work with the school. So we will write letters to the school explaining what allergies this child has and the importance of following diet. Majority of our schools are phenomenal. They will either accommodate the diet or they will allow the children to bring food from home. The teachers respect how sick children can get, just like at home. You may have 2 children, one with a milk allergy and one without, and we have to control that environment at home. We have, as parents, have to teach our children who have allergies that this is what you have and this is how it makes you sick. And when they do make a boo-boo and have that food and then are sick, you relate this to them and they will be like, oh yeah. So the next time they come across it, they are going to think twice before they have that food, because it knows. They will know, it makes me itch and break out into rashes. It makes me wheeze and sneeze and feel sick, and now I'm in hospital getting an injection.
How much does the bracelet help, especially for those that have really bad allergies?
The bracelet helps. Now, I think for children with anaphylaxis, or very severe life-threatening allergic disease, if you know what's making your child sick, I think it's always a good idea to have a medical bracelet. Now here we are very lucky. We have beautiful Maasai beaded bracelets. You can easily get one made for your child that is in red. It says milk allergy or nut allergy. I love these because they're easy, they're cheap and cheerful. For 200 or 300 shillings you can get one, and when it falls and it breaks, you can easily replace it.
Let's talk about treatment. There's a cost that goes into treating and managing allergies. How does that look for you, Harriet?
It's not cheap. It's not easy, because like for me, we have the allergy specialist, we have a gastroenterologist, because his allergies can flare up so much, his intestines swell up, so you have to see the gastro. Then there's a nutritionist that always comes on board when we get admitted. The nutritionist comes first and says, okay, it's you again. What can we eat this time? Or what can't we not eat? And we still have to follow up. It's expensive.
That's an expensive journey,
Yeah.
Dr. I mean, does NHIF insurance covers, do they alleviate this cost?
So at this point in time, it's a constant struggle dealing with with the insurance companies. They do cover the cost of allergy tests and consultations, but it depends on your level of cover. NHIF at this point in time is maybe dealing with Kenyatta, I'm not sure, but certainly with the private clinics, it's not covering the cost of allergy tests. And we have approached them, but for now, it's not. I believe that they should. Allergy tests and management of allergic disease should be covered routinely. And there's two reasons for that. First of all, allergies affect 30% of the population in differing manifestations, whether it's asthma, upper airway, lower airway, gut, skin, whatever. The cost and the burden of repeated hospital visits, medication, you know, the flare-ups, and all of these different things, admissions, doctor's visits, is phenomenal. And if you cover the cost of tests, find out what your child is allergic to or what you are allergic to, you're able to avoid the things that are making you sick, understand how to control the environment, and manage those things. The requirement for medication is less. The response to medication is better. Keeps you out of hospital because you flare up that much less. All the different things that cost a lot of money, even to the insurance companies and even to the patient and even to the overall economy of the country, whether it's days lost off work or missed days of school, all these things impact overall economy. So it is important that they should be tackled. We need to take a firmer stance as patients and the medical profession to insist that these things get covered, because it improves the patient's quality of life when they know what's making them sick.
Very well said, very well said. We have been talking about allergies, and that was Dr. Priya Bowery. She's an allergist from the Allergy Clinic, and Harriet Mudhoni, who is a caregiver to a child with allergies and also lives with allergies. Now, the take home here is that allergies are not a jail cell. If you know what you're allergic to, you can easily tiptoe around, you know, the nutrition and also get the stuff that is good for you. But also it's important that you know what you're dealing with for you to make that decision. So go see your allergist and get to know what you're dealing with. Right now, time for the health tip.
A good gym shoe is a shoe whereby you feel more comfortable and it can be able to keep you away from injuries. A flat shoe on the surface, and also the heel is supposed to be spongy. The cross trainer shoes are the best when you're working out on the treadmill, and also when you're jumping up and down during the gym workouts. For example, for my shoe is best for running, for outdoor activities, and for boot camp, because they're a bit harder in strength and they're so soft and easy to move. Also, a good shoe for the gym should be flexible. A shoe that can be able to bend, so to be able to protect your inner legs, your inner sole, and also your inner sole should also be a little bit spongy to be able to keep it comfortable and to avoid injuries.
Thank you for making time for Health Diary. It has been a very informative session and definitely one that many are asking questions about. Keep them coming through on our social media handles. We've been coming to you from the Concord Hotel and Suites. My name is Gladys Gashanja. Until next time, see you.
Again, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Coming through to our social media handles, we shall get those questions passed on to our allergist, or you can even get in touch with them.